I want to get right into it. I am not the spokesperson for the channel, right? I'm the numbers guy, though. So, what I do is I analyze the numbers every quarter to see what's going on in our market. I want to see what is happening in San Antonio's market and to get ahead of the market if possible, right? Monitoring everything that's going on in the news, everything the politicians are saying, the spending, all of that directly affects us down the road, any real estate agent in any market. Right? The last 4 years have been a little rough. Last year was one of the worst real estate markets in 30 plus years. So that was probably directly due to the inflation and then the interest rate going up. But you also had a perfect storm in real estate. You have people that purchased in 21 and 22 and 20, and they have interest rates at 3.5%. So they don't need to move, right? If you didn't have a need last year, you weren't moving. And that was directly affected by the interest rate being so low, and then the interest rate skyrocketing up to 6, 7, and almost hitting 8%. Where we're sitting today is roughly 6.5. We are in the first quarter of 2025. So if you're watching this, it's not going to launch till the second quarter, but that's because it takes time to get the numbers. So I just want to make sure that you understand that we're always running a little bit behind, and that's strictly because the numbers don't come out daily, they come out monthly. And so with that, I have to give it a little time, but I'm only going to do 4 of these a year. They're short and sweet. I just want to bring you the numbers for my analytical people. If you're looking at pretty homes, check out some of our vlogs. If that's what you want to see, you want to see the $1 million homes, the $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 new communities. Check out the vlogs, right? This might not be for you if you're not the numbers person. Don't worry about it. But you got us, right? We're here to help you on the real estate aspect of it. But for my analytical guys, I want you to be able to see what I'm seeing. I want to share my knowledge with you. And so let's jump into it, right? If this is your first time thinking about buying a house, Katie and I are here for you. If this is your 10th time thinking about buying a house or your 10th purchase, Katie and I are here for you. Whether you're 6 days or 6 months, we want to talk to you. Please feel free to contact us. All of our information is below. Shoot us an email. That's what a lot of our people do. They shoot us an email to start and just say, hey, just checking in, watching your channel. I love this area of town. We're happy to pass our knowledge on to you and educate you, right? We're in it. We're here in San Antonio doing it every single day. We'll give you our knowledge for free, essentially, right? All right. Let's jump into it. So the numbers, let me share my screen here. Okay. I'm not a very good Zoom person, but I did it. Okay, here we go. So at the top here, we're in December of 24. So I'm comparing last quarter to where we're at now. You're not going to see much of a change. I'm not seeing much of a change, but what I can tell you, boots on the ground today, that Katie and I are basically set to double, if not triple, our numbers from last year. Last year it's just a rough year. You had the anomaly with the low interest rates, and then coupled with the rising interest rates and the uncertainty. Right, uncertainty is a big part of how we purchase. We're humans, and so we like certainty because we're making a big purchase. It's one of the largest purchases you ever make, and you only do it a few times in your lifetime. Some do it more than others, but it's still, you always pause and say, okay, is this the right time? It's not like buying a Coke at the gas station, right? So, all right, let's jump into this. You got the average price. I don't really care about this. This is more what I care about, the median price in San Antonio, because if you have someone like George Strait or Tim Duncan who sells their house and it's a $6 million estate, it's going to skew the average price. But the median price takes the whole and then makes it the median, right? So 320,000, that's pretty typical for San Antonio. You can see it's up 2% from December of 23. So this is comparing 1 year back for that month. You can see total sales are up by 8% from 23, and the average price is up 2%, which, this is, you got to take these numbers with a grain of salt to start. So what we're seeing in our market is one out of every 3 homes sold are new. And a lot of the builders, they're not reporting the sales to the MLS system. You can see down here, it says MLS Multiple Listing Service. That's where these numbers are generated from. And so if they're not reported because property was never listed, they built it from the ground up, it's not going to be in here. So take that with a grain of salt. 1 in every 3 homes sold were basically brand new, and that's strictly because the builders had the capital to buy down the interest rate to 4-5% versus the market, which was at the high 6s and low 7s. So your dollar just stretched a whole lot further going new build. It totally made sense, and it still does make sense, right? They're still buying down that interest rate to 5%, 4.5%. They're spending $20,000-$30,000 per loan to buy down that interest rate, which is amazing. So, all right, we have, let's see, we have days on market at 79. That's up 7%. And then we have the dollar price per square foot for San Antonio's market at 176, pretty normal. And then this is what I truly like to track is 4.5%. 4.5 months of inventory in the market. That's the number of homes on the market. Now, what I like to do is break down the area. So, we have a lot of little cities around San Antonio, Bernie, where I'm from. We track that market. Helotes is another city in the Northwest that we track. And so those areas you can really see. I'll show you a heat map here of those areas. But just so you get an idea of San Antonio's real estate, you can see here 2 to 500,000 is basically the bulk of our market, 70%. And then 500 to 750 is at 12% of the market. And then 750 plus, the luxury market, the true luxury market is, 5%, 5.5% of our market. So you can see how many active listings, 13,000. I don't really care about that because we have a lot of homes in parts of San Antonio that we just don't sell a whole lot of real estate in, namely being the south side. Now, I'm not talking like acreage properties. Those are all south. Those are all the affordables, the 5-10 acre properties where it's still affordable. You buy that in North Bernie, it's going to be, million plus. But a lot of people are shifting down south to get their land that they want. Maybe they grew up on a small farm or something, and they're finding 5-10 acres, 500,000, 600,000 with a decent home on there, a nice home in many cases. So, I'm not taking those into account because it's not a big part of our market. We focus on San Antonio, we focus on the north side, northwest, all the way to the northeast. We do dabble some in the downtown area and then south. I'll do a few properties every year, but it's just not a big part of our market, Katie and I's market. All right. So that's December. Months of inventory is the big key here, right? So if you're going to sell your house, you're looking at it's going to take probably 4.5 months to sell my home. Now, take that with a grain of salt as well. It also depends where you're at. If you're in a neighborhood that's competing against builders, good luck, right? They're buying down the interest rate. You can't afford to spend $20K to buy down the interest rate for the buyer. So, yeah, it's just tough competing. You got to do something to stand out. If you're moving to San Antonio and you're going to be selling your home, give us a shout. Pick our brains. You got your local real estate agents there. You definitely want to use them. Pick their brains, figure out what's going on in the market. They're going to know their specific little market, right? If you're in Timberwood Park in San Antonio, I just put a house on the market. We had showing after showing, went under contract, but it was a beautiful home. They did a lot of work to it. It was gorgeous. It showed gorgeous, showed very clean. It's very important when selling. So, doing the proper steps, and that's just talking to, someone like myself who's been doing it 18 years. We know what's going on in the market. We know what the buyers want. Or you might just have a unique property, right? You might be in an area that's super hot and you put it on the market, next week and it's gone. Those areas still do exist, right? Especially for school districts. So that's December. Let's jump over here into February of 25 as you can see, not much has changed since February of 24 to February of 25. The days on market up 1%. We saw that from the last one. It's up a few days. Dollar per square foot's down, so that's not uncommon. That's San Antonio's market taking a dip. We took a 2% dip overall last year, and so that's pretty spot on. You're seeing 1%, but it's a little bit higher, and that's that's the market, right? You can't have a great year every year. My prediction, we're going up, right? These next 4 years, consumer confidence is through the roof. I love hearing all the good news. Granted, we are in Texas, right? But everybody just seems to have a positive outlook on the future of what's going on, and that's that'll directly correlate to our real estate market. I'll give you an example. After the first of the new year, Katie and I had this pent-up demand of people that we've been talking to. None of them were getting off the fence. They were all just there, right? They were communicating. We knew they were window shopping because they would tell us. They were looking at homes online. We had them set up on searches, and they weren't buying. But after the first of the year, the first 3 weeks of January, Katie and I put 9 homes under contract. That directly shows that the consumer confidence is through the roof and people are going to get out. I expect to see the interest rate coming down here in the third quarter is my prediction. Nothing happens overnight. With all the changes going into effect, inflation is going to start coming down, and we're going to see the interest rate come down with it. And that's what I follow. That's what I do all day. I'm listening to the radio, listening to what's going on. And so I'm tracking it because I want to know what my future is going to hold. I need to know if I need to shift. If Katie and I need to make a market adjustment of some kind. But right now, everything's trucking. It's crazy. We're busy, which is wonderful. Good business. Being busy in our business is always a good thing. We're so happy and thankful to people like you. You know who you are. We truly enjoy you, and we truly love representing you with your home purchase. But many of you also built, right? So building, it's what it is. The pendulum has swung all the way to the new builds. So you can't fight it. It is what it is. That's the market. At some point, it's going to shift back to the residential, and the residential is going to heat up. I predict that's going to happen next year. As we see the interest rate coming down, we're going to see consumer confidence start growing and growing and growing. People are going to start spending their money that they've been hoarding the last 3, 4, 5 years, and you get a nice, pretty house, right? All right, so close to original list price. San Antonio is a 95% market, so that means if you listed 100,000, you can expect to get 95%. Here, you're seeing the direct effect of a rough market, right? 24, you're seeing it that it's down to 93%, and that's just people needing to sell, right? If you're a buyer in 24, good for you. You can take advantage of the market. Same with going into 25. If you're looking to buy early on in the year, take advantage of it. If you got the means, I tell everybody, if you got the means to buy and you're financially ready for a home, to be a homeowner, or you've sold the property in another state and you're relocating here, don't worry about it. If the interest rate drops to 4%, let's refi it. Easy, right? But if you got the means, let's do it. Pull that trigger because you're going to be a part of this 93%. So what the sellers are looking at is the today market, and then their real estate agents, at least Katie and I do, we have to factor in, okay, what are we gonna expect to see for an offer? And that's what we're seeing, the 93%. Some of my properties sell full price. I just got one in at full price. It has a pool. It's a very nice home, well kept, in a great location, north side of San Antonio, in a guard-gated community. It had everything that the buyers want, right? And it was $500,000 versus $1 million. So, and she priced it to sell because she needed to sell. So that's a big part of selling, is pricing correctly, of course, right? Months of inventory has not changed. You're seeing that as well, 4.9, 4.5. So it went up, which to be expected. We're seeing the direct effects of last year's market. Median price is way down from 320 to 389, 390, 290, call it. So down 2%. You're not seeing much of a change in the market. This is what I'm expecting to see. I don't really monitor new listings. active listings. These numbers just change so much from month to month because we're a summer market in San Antonio, and so at March hits, you're going to see a lot more listings hitting the market. And this is also pent up demand. People who have that 3%, they're like, oh man, I really want a bigger house. Their family dynamics have changed. You're always going to have divorce in a city, so you're always going to have those sales. But people we're a military city. They're used to moving every 4 or 5 years. It's built into them. It's in their blood, and they're really good at moving. And so, you're going to see that new listings tick up because of the last few years. It's just been so slow. But now, as consumer confidence grows, we're going to see people start turning and burning. They're going to definitely. So we're directly seeing it. I think between Katie and I, we have over 25 listings, something like that. And that's just people, they're ready, right? They've been sitting on their hands the last 2 years saying, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. Okay, now we know what's going to happen. Elections are over, thank God. Get all the ads off the TV and the phones. And so now we can move forward. Whether you like to change or not, it doesn't matter. You're still American. It still affects you. So this is what I'm monitoring for you is I want to know what's coming down the pipe, right? And everything I'm seeing here is what I predicted from last year into the new year. But as we go into Q3, I'm going to be excited to bring this to you in Q3 and see if I eat my words or if I'm right. We'll see, right? All right, that's all I really got for you. Let's show you a quick heat map of San Antonio. So in case you're not familiar with San Antonio, we got I-10 right here that cuts through and runs to 90. It turns into 90. Technically, I-10 goes up here and heads on out to California. But so we cut it in half here, 90 to, you can see it cuts basically directly across the city. And so we focus all of our business up here, predominantly into Castroville. Castroville's growing now. You know who you are, Larry, right? You love the analytics just as much as I do. Larry bought out here, and you can see the months of inventory, 5 months out in Castroville. And a lot of this right here is all new build, new growth. And so these poor home sellers are sitting on the market longer, and that's strictly because they're competing with the new construction. You can see that it's starting to come down. I expect this to all be probably around 3 or 4 months in the latter part of the year. You can see here, Helotes. I hate that little pop-up. You got Timberwood Park up here where I put the house on the market and had it on a contract in a weekend. Up into Bernie. Doesn't really give me a whole lot with Bernie. Bernie's tracked for sure. Bernie's in the 5 or 6 month range as well. So the heat map is directly correlating what I showed you from the numbers. You can see Southside. I mean, you got a bunch of Lennar homes being built. Lennar is building $175,000 to $200,000 homes, and man, the San Antonians are jumping on it. That's the bread and butter back in the day when I was selling 60 homes at the 150 to 200 market. It was crazy. You could stay busy all day, every day if you wanted to. So San Antonio's market has risen. We've gotten more expensive, as you can see by the median sales price at 280 and 320. I've watched San Antonio grow up over my career, been doing this 18 years, and so it's kind of exciting to see from my eyes. But I'm a numbers guy too, right? I really like to track this stuff. So you can see the whole north side up here. All of this is prime. I think we're going to see a switch back as interest rates go down. We're going to start seeing the resales, the residential resales pick up, and this is going to drop into the 4 and 3 month range. These areas are the outer line areas I was telling you that have the 10 acres, Floresville, Lavernia, 5 acres, 10 acres, 1 acre. This is more sandy soil down here. So you got to be used to it. You got to know what you're looking at. And if that's something you want to explore, Katie and I are happy to give you our guidance on that. So you can just break the city up basically like a cross or a plus sign. And then you got your quadrants, northeast. So you're seeing here, this right here is big military area of San Antonio. Randolph Air Force Base, Fort Sam, Houston, and BAMC are over here. And so military wasn't PCS in the last 2-3 years from what I understand. I'm not in the military, but I talked to a lot of them. But now apparently the orders have all been sent out. So we're going to see a lot of this region shift because military is PCSing now. Katie and I both have a couple people we're working with that are active duty, and they're being sent here. And then we got some sellers moving out that are active duty. So, military drives Military City, USA. It's a big part of our market. We like to see it. And so, yeah, that's what it is right there. That's really it for the numbers. I don't want to keep it. Check out the other vlogs, right? Check out the homes, some of the gorgeous homes we've been launching, man. George's Ranch. Some of them are just absolutely gorgeous. I love walking through those models. I get a kick out of it. Check out our Bernie vlogs, right? Bernie seems to be a big city, growing city. I'm from Bernie. I can tell you about my old Bernie days if you want to be bored. But all right, that's all we got for you. That's all I got for you. The beautiful Katie is busy working, showing houses, but she tasked me to do the numbers. And so once a quarter. All right. Thank you for watching. As always, feel free to reach out to us, call us, text us, email us. All of our contact info is below. Drop me a comment if there's something you want me to hit on the next time. I'm happy to do so. Many people don't have access to these types of resources because these are kind of the real estate resources that we track that, are strictly from the title companies that, as you can see, independent title, that they send it directly to us. You have to have a login. You have to have a password. Password changes monthly. And that's strictly because, they know that we want to share that knowledge with you, the public, and that's what we're here to do. So reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text, drop us an email. Feel free to email directly if you have any other questions. I'm here for you. All right.